and welcome back to AR77. Today we have, I will be honest with you, just a bit of an indulgent video episode, whatever you want to call it. Just talking about really my favourite semi-automatic pistol, which is the 1911. Obviously, I'm talking about air pistols for the most part, but the style and the shape and everything, and the iconic nature of the 1911 are what really drew me to air pistols, really, or specifically replica air pistols. I live in a country where it's difficult to own one of these things without it being quite heavily modified, you might say. You have to put an extender at the back here and on the front here, so that it can't be easily concealed for all sorts of reasons. Obviously, the primary one being safety of the general public, which I can't argue with really, but it's a lot easier and more straightforward, and still just as fun, in my opinion, to get hold of one of these really quite good replica air pistols, and then you get the feel similar to the real thing. Obviously not exactly the same weight and everything, but the same size and pretty much the same sort of functionality, and you get to hold and enjoy using a piece of history, really. So the 1911 here became a standard issue to the US Army, I believe, in 1911, and continued to be used by them predominantly until I think around the mid-80s, 1984, 85 possibly. And very little has changed. You know, it's similar to I always liken it to something like a Porsche, where you get that original design, and over the years it's been tweaked and slightly improved and things, but because it's such a design classic, very little had to change, and people have enjoyed similar ever since. You know, you look at a modern day Porsche, very similar, very recognisable. You can see the lineage, and the same is true of the 1911. So this is actually a 1911 A1 replica, really. Let's put it together, and I could talk about what that means and what the differences might be. Okay, so first things first, we're going to try and do this on camera. Slide that barrel back in there. Then we're going to put this in here like that. I'm going to put that there. Put the spring on there. This is so tricky when you're doing it reaching around the camera. I need a better setup. So that should just go nicely in there. And then, don't break your spring, Matt. Let's have a look. That's better. That's better. Yeah, get in there. Right, let's have this. That all locks into place nicely. You can see it's got a recessed barrel on this this particular model. It's the Remington 1911 RAC by KWC, and that should just slide nicely on there. Just roll it back a little bit so that notch is nice and that went in nicely, and we are good to go. Yeah, so as I said, this is the 1911 A1 replica, really. Differences are, I think this is the second model that they made, so the first model didn't have these cutouts here. the first model, I think, on all the grips, they had like the diamond pattern that you've probably seen. They didn't have this main spring housing kind of extension here. It was just flat. I think this was because for people with smaller to medium hands, it was just easier to hold on to. I guess these days you just change that out for a what are they called now? Backstrap, changeable backstrap. Yeah, so that was there. I think this spur here is a little bit longer on the A1. I think the hammer is a little bit longer on the A1. I think the trigger was a little bit longer on the original, and they shortened that for the A1. What else? I think, okay, now you're going to correct me if I'm wrong here, but on the original, well, on the A1 rather, I think this notch here in the rear sight was either made more narrow or the front sight was made slightly more broad. Not sure which. That's not a white dot on there, it's just how it catches the light, but that's quite useful sometimes. As you can see, no white dots here, nothing. It's very much a skill to be practiced, is aiming that pistol. But really nice pistol. Famous in countless films and TV programs, famous from countless battles across a variety of countries. A lot of different armed forces have used the 1911, and really a lot of modern semi-automatic pistols take a lot of their cues from this original kind of design way back when. I'll talk about that in a little bit later on. So the reason I like it, again, it's just the smoothness, it's the styling of it, similar to, I forget which gun it was I did a review, but I sort of said, if you just saw the silhouette of that, even if you didn't know what sort of gun it was, you would recognise that it was, it was a gun that you've seen over and over. It's kind of the standard shape of a semi-automatic pistol, or certainly has been up to kind of recent times. Very little going on. I particularly like this model because it's got no rail, it's nice and smooth at the front here. It's just, well, it is what it is, and what it is a tool. It's a tool for doing things that need to be done in certain situations, just much like you'd have a hammer or a drill. This is a tool of warfare, I guess, but a tool nevertheless. And that's partly why I like them. I think it's the engineering that goes into them, it's the tactile nature of them. So operating a 1911, you would rack the slide. I've got the magazine out, so it does that. If it had the magazine in, it would have locked back, thinking it had done the last shot. But yeah, you rack the slide like that, and then you have this safety catch here, which you would flip up into the safe position, and that is how you're supposed to carry a 1911 in reality. That's how you would holster it. If you were carrying the real firearm, that's how you'd holster it, cocked and locked, as it were. Then you draw it from your holster. Your hand would be on the grip safety there. Finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. But as you draw it, you bring it out, and that would go down, and then you could fire. Let's have a look. The air pistol magazine is really good because it's very similar to the actual 1911 magazine in the same way that the pistol itself is. Certainly these KWC ones, and all of them really that you see are quite true. Certainly in style and design, even if not in functionality. But yeah, this is a narrow magazine. Obviously the real one wouldn't have that cutout for CO2, it wouldn't have the plastic on the top to hold the BBs, but it would be this sort of size. I think they originally held 7. I think you can get some that hold 8 now. You could probably get extended mags now that hold all sorts. And obviously originally it would have been in 45 caliber, 0.45. But now I guess you can get 9mm ones, probably get 50 cal 1911s now, made by somebody somewhere. Yeah, really nice pistol. So it's available in 3 different sizes. This is based on the Colt Government I say cult government, the government size, which is the 5-inch barrel. Also available, you can get a commander size, which I don't think they do an air pistol for yet. I would really love it if they did. And then the officer size, which is 3.5mm, which is probably more like this other one here that I have here, knocking them together. It's called Defender. Another nice replica, perhaps a bit more true to the original with that flat there. You don't have the arched mainspring housing, but there's very little functionality to this air pistol. The safety doesn't work, the hammer doesn't work, the sights are non-adjustable. The trigger is not accurate. That's not an accurate 1911 style trigger. If I show you this one again, that's far more like the style of a more traditional 1911. But obviously this is based on a more modern version of a officer size 1911. It has this Picatinny rail here. Quite a nice pistol, nevertheless. Doesn't do a lot. You wouldn't have a safety there on the real thing. But yeah, so that's more like the officer size. There's one that I'm waiting to get hold of, which is the Springfield Armory version, which is again KWC. So essentially, it's like this pistol, I believe, for the most part. But I think it's all black with wood effect grips, so they look quite nice. And you can see through the cut-out ejection port there, the barrel is stainless, which looks really nice. I've not seen those in the UK just yet, but I have seen them online. They look really nice. Let's have a look at another one then. Just while we're indulging ourselves, this is there's basically the same air pistol, really. Basically the same as the Remington 1911 RAC, but this is the Remington 1911 RAC Tactical. So same as before, but you've got the rail, you've got the cut-out serrations in the front there. You've got this slightly extended bit on the grip safety, more modern grips. You've got this skeletonized trigger, skeletonized hammer. It's flat at the back there on the mainspring housing. Did I mention the rail? I think I did. Yeah, and on this one you've got your white dot sights front and rear. So, as much as I really like the style of this original, and I do like to get it out and just play with it every now and then and strip it down and whatever, this is the one I shoot more often, just because I find it easier to shoot with the white dots. But the same operation, exactly the same magazine. Again, a KWC pistol, really nice this. I think you can get a different version which is exactly the same, which is the is it Black Ops version or something like that, which is the same pistol. I think it might have a stainless barrel, which I would have liked, but not to worry. Another version of this one that we have, which is identical in all but appearance, is this lovely piece of kit here. This is the Swiss Arms tactical rail system version. Nice sort of faux wood grips. These are usually, when you buy it, it's kind of got black screws in there, or deep brown, but they're black or brown. And I just put those on because I thought they looked nice. Each to their own, But as you can see, it's identical. It's exactly the same pistol. It's got the same rail there, the same trigger, different grips. These are the sort of the diamonds that I was talking about that were featured on the original 1911. So it's nice that they've kind of got that in this design. But you can see at the back here, the sights are the same. These serrations are the same. It's exactly the same pistol. But this does have the benefit of the stainless slide, which I do think looks nice. Again, you've got the white dots there, but just take the magazine out. No, sorry, keep the magazine in, and just wrap that to the back there. That looks really nice with the stainless there. Don't think it'll stand the test of time. May get a little spoiled over time. which is again why I don't shoot this one just as much, just because I have the luxury, and I know that a lot of people don't, so I'm aware of that, but because I have the luxury of having 2 or 3 of these, I kind of have the one every day that I pull out. Well, not every day, but sort of the one that I regularly would use. And these are the ones that I just liked to have. I'm on the lookout for kind of completing a collection, really, of these 1911s. I'd like all of the KFC ones. KFC? Kentucky Fried CO2 pistol. All the KWC ones. Yeah, there's a tan one, I think, and then there's one that they do which is a I don't know what you call it. It's like a combat version which has a slightly extended mag, but I think it's essentially still the same pistol. And then of course there's the Sig We the People version, which is full metal again, metal grips and the stars, and is a kind of a special edition which copies the actual We the People 1911 by Sig Sauer. And as a Sig Sauer fan and a 1911 fan, that's kind of the perfect combination for me. Do we have any more? Yes, we do. We have one more here that I thought I'd show you. This is a Sig. This is the Sig 1911 Spartan. So another really nice, really modern version of the Sig Sauer 1911, and you can see the difference there with the kind of if you look at your average 1911 is got quite a narrow profile, a very smooth looking gun, quite a delicate looking pistol in some ways, but obviously this is a lot more tactical looking with these serrations at the front and rear here, and you can see it's kind of got that trademark Sig look to it with the kind of cut out just along the end of the barrel there, that kind of notch cut out. No, it's not a notch, is it? What you call it, like a groove cut out there, and slightly more aggressive edging on that, a bit more squared off. But that's a really nice pistol. Again, it's got the kind of skeletonized trigger, this extended bit on the grip safety there, skeletonized hammer, and it's got those white dots. This is a really nice pistol if you wanted. It's got a slightly less of a blowback, so it doesn't blow all the way back. But what that means is that you probably get more shots for your CO2, and I think it's perhaps a little bit more powerful. So if you're shooting over a longer distance, you might want to pick one of these up instead of one of the KWC ones. This or the Max Michel version, they shoot quite well. Yeah, I think you've probably got higher FPS going on this one. And a slightly different safety here. This is not really sort of safety you'd get on a 1911. You'd flick it all like that, and then you'd flick it down when ready. But this one, it's got a little sort of button here that you have to make sure you press for it to come down. But again, that's a really nice pistol. Nice stainless barrel in there, unobtrusive writing, and then you've got the Molon Larbe kind of motif there. This just a stick magazine on this one, just very basic plastic stick mag. I've got a review of all of these, so you can have a look back through the channel should you wish. These ones, you load it as you saw it all goes into the magazine there. So you've got CO2 and BBs in the mag. But yeah, working grip safety. CO2 for this one, you pull this kind of mainspring housing, or what looks like it, away, and it's kind of a cantilever to puncture the CO2, which just goes in there in the grip. So yeah, good weight, full metal, really nice looking pistol, accurate looking 1911 trigger on that one as opposed to this one. There's another one that I quite like, which is the Colt, I think it's another Umarex one, Colt Special Combat, which is essentially this, but with the full length 5-inch barrel, and it's got a nicer finish to it. It's got kind of faux wood grips. It's black and stainless, I think, for the most part, and everything functions. You've got a lot of kind of chrome safety and trigger and hammer, but again, the trigger is not accurate to what you would call an accurate, authentic 1911 trigger. And the sights are adjustable, I think, on the Colt Special Combat, and I think that is actually cut out. On this Colt Defender, it's just a little sticker, but it's pretty harmless. So yeah, just to show you a bit of a comparison to its legacy, really, if we go back here to the 1911 A1, and you look at its functionality as a single action semi-automatic pistol, and then you bring it right forward into the future, and you look at something like that, which is the Springfield Armory XDM. The comparisons are quite clear to see. You know, in terms of just the design of the pistol, you've got this pistol here with a magazine, a releasable drop-out magazine release right there at the front of the handle in just an intuitive place, and you have that on the vast majority of modern handguns as well. The vast majority is there. Sometimes on the Walther or H&K you have a trigger guard magazine release, but on the majority it's there. When the slide goes back and locks into place, you've got that there. Same here, the slide goes back and engages with the slide catch release. I don't know if that's, you know, just because you wouldn't put it anywhere else, or, you know, my thought would be, it's just such a good design that why not? Let's just follow what the 1911 did and built on it, you know. Particularly with this pistol as well, you've got that comparison of the grip safety. That doesn't exist on all pistols, you know, but it certainly does here. It's seen as a good design even here, so that you can, you know, you've got the pistol, and although you keep your finger off the trigger at all times until you're ready to shoot, there's that added safety there of, you know, if I just drop this or whatever, it's not just going to go off. Never mind the fact that there's a trigger safety there. You know, this is a really safety conscious pistol, really. You've got the trigger safety, you've got this grip safety. The biggest difference, I guess, being that it's a striker-fired pistol rather than a pistol with a working hammer. Striker-fired pistols, for those who don't know, which is probably nobody watching this, it's more like an internal hammer, a striker. So it's all that happens inside the pistol. But there you have it, quite clear to see kind of how the 1911 has successfully stood the test of time and influenced countless modern handguns, which is one of the reasons why I really like it. I love the iconic nature of the pistol. I love the way it feels. I love the weight of it in the hand. I love the clean lines. I like the fact that it's not too tactical, you know. It's a really nice pistol, and I like the 1911 very, very much. So I know this was quite an indulgent video, but for anybody like me who likes these pistols, it's often nice just to get a few out on the table, have a bit of a walk round and a bit of love for such an iconic design. Are they all going to stack for me? Yeah, let's leave that as the final shot. Take care, all the best. See you later. Bye.